This podcast is sponsored in part by Benjamin Hart.
That's me!
And yours truly, Zack Arnold.
And by participation from listeners like you. So let's tune in to another episode of
IPC.
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 IPC. IPC. IPC.
IPC.
IPC.
IPC. The Intergalactic Peace Coalition Podcast.
All the galaxies.
All for you.
Everybody, this is an historic occasion here on Fandom Empire. The very first live broadcast of the Intergalactic Peace Coalition Podcast. We have done some live audio streams on our Facebook page before. We did one little broadcast called IPCNN at one point. That did not go very well. But this is a huge moment for our history. Not only are we celebrating our 7th anniversary tonight, but we are also having our first live. I say huge thank you to Sean and everybody at the Fandom Empire team for welcoming us to this channel and to this broadcast. It's exciting. This is a really big thing for us, and we're excited to be here. You have heard our audio voices for several years past, and you're finally seeing our faces. So for those of you who are Fandom Empire regulars and maybe recognize me from Fandom News Now, I am Zack, and joining me is my good friend, my longtime co-host here at the Intergalactic Peace Coalition. You get to see his face now. It's Mr. Ben Hart.
How's it going, guys? My goodness. Long time coming. I am thrilled to be here on the IPC Podcast and, of course, Fandom Empire. Thanks for having us, guys. And, yeah, this is weird and amazing. There's all kinds of emotions now doing this. And also seeing myself and knowing that other people can see me. I had to comb my hair before I got on air. I don't usually do that before podcasting, all right? That doesn't usually happen. I don't have to worry about my looks. I could do it naked if I want to. I'm not saying I've done that before. But I could if I wanted to. Not anymore. That liberty has been stripped away from me. I have to do this clothes now. But, yeah, we have a lot to talk about. 7 years of podcasting. Dude. Jeez, how did we do this?
Dude, according to the show notes, this is episode 324 for our program. The first one on Fandom Empire, which is why you see IPC Podcast #1 here on this this episode. But it's actually like 300 plus for us, which is just incredible. But this show would not happen without our producer, Sean, the head man at Fandom Empire. Thank you again to him for putting this show on for us. I know that he's had a rough day, and to be here helping us out with some of the technical side of things is really, really important. We could not do it without him. So thank you, Sean. We're going to hear from you in just a little bit when we get to a really cool discussion that we've got. But there's just a lot that's happening to IPC. And for people who are new to the show, who are new to what the Intergalactic Peace Coalition is about, we literally cover everything. And like you heard in the intro music, we are all the galaxies, all for you.
Absolutely.
So we literally cover everything, every possible contingency, every galaxy, every universe, every fandom. We started way back 7 years ago when there was like another side of our fandom that we wanted to express outside of Star Wars. Obviously, Star Wars thing that brought us together. Ben hosts the Star Wars Underworld podcast. He founded the Star Wars Underworld Facebook page. So Star Wars was kind of how we became friends. But this podcast, Ben, more or less spawned from the idea that, hey, there's other stuff out there worth talking about too.
There's so many things to talk about, and we've talked about them. Like we were going over, like we were reminiscing right before the show, like what have we talked about? And I was just like naming things like off and off and off. I'm like, wow, we've covered a lot of stuff over the years, like 324 episodes. That's a lot. Some things we've covered twice, which is crazy. But some things are just that awesome. And yes, we talked about Star Wars. We also love Marvel. We delve DC. There's almost no limits to what this show is capable of discussing. Mm-hmm. So, and hopefully now, we got a new audience now. Thank you guys. If you're joining us for the first time, amazing. Glad to have you. And hopefully we'll be the show that you need us to be. And, also guys, let us know what you want to talk about because we're kind of open to anything. We will talk about anything, except horror movies. All right, I'm not a big horror movie fan. I know it's a big thing on Fandom Empire. I'm just not a horror movie person. I'm sorry. I'm a big wimp.
Well, luckily, Fandom Empire Live, which airs twice a week, covers a lot of stuff in the horror genre. They actually did a video earlier today talking about Halloween Kills and the new image that released, and we'll get to that in just a little bit because Sean had a lot of thoughts on that, and obviously we want to hear those thoughts from him. There is a rated program that has technically been a part of Fandom Empire since Fandom Empire pretty much started, and we just haven't had the time to be able to do it all that much. And there is a program called IPC out there that if you want to hear the Peace guys talking about R-rated content, horror movies, terrible flicks, like really cheap slasher films like Zombies and Llamageddon, then that will definitely be the place for it. And you should know there are a lot of regulars at Fandom Empire that tune into just about everything, and a lot of them are with us tonight. Toronto Freddy is our chat mods, and he is here for pretty much every episode. We always appreciate him showing up and showing out. Jade, obviously, we know the lovely Mama Jade, who is getting ready for baby number 2 right now. Congratulations to her, Sean. That is awesome. Francisco has joined us from regularly over with our previous host, 1138. He's joining us here on YouTube. Thank you to him. Cat73 is here. I think Melissa said she was going to show up a little bit later. So, there's a really great blend of like old school meets new school here for tonight's broadcast. So we appreciate everyone for being here. A little fun fact, though, when we do our anniversary episodes, IPC is very known for doing giveaways. And tonight is no different. This is a big time giveaway night, and we're doing it in a lot of different ways. And we're out some really kick-ass prizes. There's one that is like specifically IPC themed. There is one that is actually IPC swag. There is something that is barbecue related because every episode we have a segment called Barbecue Watch at the end of the show. And we've also got like a really cool Star Wars themed giveaway because there's a lot of people that really like Star Wars. I know there's a lot of horror fans, but for some reason, Star Wars is a really big thing, and we are going to be talking about the Bad Batch tonight as well.
Absolutely.
So giveaways and some nostalgia, and we do this thing on our show called Top Fives. We're actually going to be listing some of our top fives to kind of introduce ourselves to the new audience, people who maybe don't know what our interests are or what our likes and dislikes are. In my opinion, there are very few ways to get to know somebody better than asking them something like their top 5 ice cream flavors, their top 5 favorite movies. And those are some of the things we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to talk about top 5 favorite movies and top 5 favorite TV shows. And we're going to bring Sean on for that as well to do like a comparison thing and see how everybody at Fandom Empire shakes out with those opinions. But here's how we're going to be doing these giveaways, folks. So pay attention. We're doing different giveaways based on the different engagement that we get here in the chat, the engagement that we get on financial support, that kind of thing. The biggest giveaway that we're doing is to people who subscribe to our Patreon. For those of us listening to IPC for a long time, they have been asking for a Patreon, and we finally freaking got one. It took a lot of arm twisting and figuring out, but we had been using a patron system for where our podcast had been coming from, Podbean, and it just really wasn't working out the way that we hoped. So at the beginning of the year, we sat down and we were like, we're going to do a Patreon. And you know what? We finally did it. So that's going to be one of the ways that we're doing giveaways is on the Patreon. People who join with us on tonight's broadcast will be entered to be a part of that giveaway. We're also going to be doing one for Super Chats. So if you don't feel like going to the Patreon, but you still want to support the program, then we're going to be doing a raffle for the first 5 people that submit a Super Chat. So the first 5 Super Chats at any amount, you can send in a 99-cent Super Chat. Doesn't matter. The first 5 people to submit a Super Chat are going to be entered for a raffle to another one. And then we're also be doing a raffle for people who follow us on Twitter and tag their dinner photo. I know we're being very specific, but we have a hashtag that we use called hashtag BBQWatch. You see it right there on the lower third. So use the hashtag BBQWatch and go tag at IPC Podcast on Twitter. You're also entered for another raffle. So there are tons of different ways that you can win stuff on tonight's broadcast. But you got to make sure that you got 5 people doing it because we do a lot of top 5 stuff here on this program. Ben,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, out of the top 5s that we've done, which one do you remember the most? Like, which one has been the fun one to do?
Man, we've done a lot, and for us, it's a relatively new concept. That's within the last 5 years.
Dude, we've been doing it since at least 2017, 2018, something like that, and it's 2021, dude. Come on. It's
I
not
know,
new
but it was we did the show for a long time, and then we came up with top 5. That was a new concept, and now it's really old now, and it's old news, and it's amazing, but there's been so many of them. We've got top 5. I think maybe one of my favorites was top 5 duos, because I just got reminded of that one back there, and I love
Woody and Timon and Pumbaa, and I remember that.
Just a lot of different ones, and I love the ones that were kind of thinking outside the box and doing different stuff. And we did top 5 Clone Wars episodes and arcs, I think. One point, because we love the Clone Wars on this show, and we're going to talk about our love for Clone Wars a little bit later in the show, obviously. And top 5, and one that I'm missing now is our top 5 most anticipated movies of blank year.
Yep, that was always a great one, because we would ask people on social media for what movies they were looking forward to the most, and then that would give us a really great idea on what to expect. What kind of things do we need to talk about on this program? And they would literally tell us, and then we would make sure to watch those so that we could talk about it on the program. So yeah, the most anticipated one was always a favorite of mine, and then COVID-19 happened, and I guess
we did most anticipated movies of 2020, I think, and then COVID happened, and I haven't seen most of the movies on my list. And most of the movies that we talked about in that episode, still 2 years later.
Yep, that's a thing. That is definitely a thing. But we've done top 5 action sequences, top 5 favorite episodes of television, I think. We've done top 5 alien species or alien creatures, something like that.
Top 5 John Williams tracks. I think that might be my favorite.
Because we would play snippets of that on the MP3 version, and so we would definitely have a really good time with that as well. We've got our first super chat of the evening. Toronto already sends in a $2 super chat. He says, "You can enter me." That didn't come out right. Oh, Freddie!
You could have said anything, and you said that. Thank you, Toronto Freddie. We love you.
Freddie is officially entered in the super chat giveaway. We need 4 more people to be part of the raffle, so send in your super chats before the evening is out, and then we will do raffle maybe towards the end of the episode. I see Chosen Nightwolf is in there officially, and that is our friend George Rivera. We appreciate you showing up and showing out with us, George. You've been a long-time listener for years, man, and it's great to have you in the YouTube live chat. Got another one from Chad. Big shout-outs to the new show and great to your guys' faces. Chad, thank you for the support, man. We appreciate that a lot. And we've got 2 people officially added to the list. I'm going to get a piece of paper out now because I might forget later. But we've got Chad and Toronto Freddy officially part of what we're doing tonight. And a reminder, if you want to, you can also be entered for another raffle by going to the website that I am linking on this chat right now, patreon.com/IPC Podcast.
That's brand new. We haven't even like announced that yet. That's brand new today.
We announced it just today. Like it actually launched today. And if you go to the Friends tier, that's like the middle tier. It goes everywhere from like $3 to $12. And if you go to the middle tier, then and sign up for that one, then you will be entered into yet another potential raffle. And so there's a lot of really cool stuff happening here. We've got the one on Twitter as well. If you want to be entered in that one, tag us at IPC Podcast with your most recent dinner picture. Most recent dinner picture at IPC Podcast with the hashtag BBQWatch that you see in the lower third there. So there's 3 ways that you can be a part of the festivities. And we've got one more that's going to be an IPC themed trivia question that we're going to do later on in the evening as well. So, yeah, Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Jurassic Park, Marvel, DC, The 100, Stranger Things, Toy Story, and just Pixar in general, Firefly, Pirates of the Caribbean, Planet of the Apes, Back to the Future, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Spaceballs, Galaxy Quest. There's just about nothing that we have not covered. You know what I mean?
I know.
It's crazy about how many different things that we have covered over the course of our career here with over 300 episodes of the Intergalactic Peace Coalition. And Ben, looking back on 7 years, like, number one, did you think we would get this far? And number two, like how have you not gotten sick of me after 7 years?
Well, I was about to ask you the same thing about me. So I think the feeling is mutual. I think we are a duo. We are maybe even you could call us an odd couple, but I think we found the perfect match. Not to make this sound romantic or anything, but I think we have a pretty darn well one.
Definitely have a girlfriend.
Yeah. Okay. You're taken. All right. So there's nothing going on there. But I think it's funny how this kind of started, and I think this was kind of your doing. I kind of give the credit to you because I think you're the one that kind of came to me and went, "Hey, so you want to start a podcast?" And I'm like, hell yeah. Like, talk about something other than Star Wars. I love talking about Star Wars. I still talk about Star Wars once a week on Star Wars Underworld podcast. But getting an opportunity to talk about something else, I think, was so enticing to me. And doing something with you one-on-one, I think, was just great. And, I don't know how well I knew you then, but like our friendship has blossomed, and we are, I think we have definitely bonded on this show better than I ever imagined. And the things we talked about and what we've done and where we've gone, because we've obviously met up in person many, many times. And it's all because of this show and this amazing audience that we've had and all the fun and all the things that I've watched, be they TV or movies, that I never would have watched if I didn't have the excuse or been forced to watch them because of the show, and all the growth I've had as a human being, because I learned so many things making this show over the past 7 years, from editing to hosting or whatever, new things that I never would have picked up on because I was basically thrown into the deep end and had to figure it out for myself. And, it's groundbreaking for me. And, I owe you and IPC so much for so many things, so many amazing moments, and the friendship that we have, and the amazing memories that we've got. And we're making more memories tonight. We're continuing. It ain't stopping. This is a new beginning for us.
Oh yeah. And I think that's what's so cool and so exciting is even with the new every 2 weeks format, we're still finding new things to do and new things to talk about and new formats to talk about them on. When we switched to every 2 weeks, some loyal listeners were kind of bummed and were like, man, this is really sad. I've been so used to listening to you guys every week, but now it ends up working because that schedule just ends up coinciding with the schedule that Fandom Empire had, and so it's it's a really cool thing to be able to make the stars align the way that it has. Chris Sequel says, excited for your YouTube debut. Congrats on 7. Sent in a $2 super chat. I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about Chris and Channel 1138 briefly.
Absolutely.
I mean, I know that we're on a platform now, but I don't think IPC would exist without Chris's willingness to bring us aboard. I had been on all of 2 podcasts before I started IPC. And if you go back and listen to episode 1, you can definitely tell that I had never really hosted a podcast before because it sounds god-awful. And the evolution that we experienced over on that station has helped prepare us for what we're doing now, which is really cool. So, Chris, thank you for the support. Thank you for the encouragement. And thank you for helping IPC blossom to what it is today.
Yeah, and I think I said something along the lines last week, but I'll gladly repeat myself, especially since Chris is here. Thank you, Chris, because literally, like, I don't think this show would, like you're saying, exist without, like, Chris doing everything he did with Channel 1138 and basically spurring us on and giving us a platform, because it does take a lot to get a podcast running, even if it's just a podcast. It takes a lot to get this running, I tell you that much. Sean is a miracle worker making this happen. But like
he's not gonna brag on himself, but I'll brag on him a little bit. He is expecting child number 2. He is in the middle of a country that is riddled with COVID. He is doing all kinds of stuff here on the channel, trying to make things work. And like, he was sending me updates, like play-by-play updates today on how today was going, and it sounded like just an absolute crap show. And yet somehow he managed to bring everything together and put us on the air. So yeah, that dude is a rock star, and we're going to get to hear from that rock star in just a little bit here when we talk about our top 5 movies and our top 5 TV shows. There's a lot of hype being built in the chat right now, which is awesome, because yeah, if you guys want to talk about your 5 favorite movies and we've got the time, we'll definitely read them off. That's one of the cool things about doing something live like this, is we get to look at your lists as it happens. And most of the time we have to ask for them on social media and then talk about them after the fact. So to have that like in the moment is actually going to be a new experience, and it's going to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
Looking forward to that and so much more. A reminder to go hit up our Patreon, patreon.com/IPC Podcast. If you become one of the other 4 people to subscribe to that Patreon at friend level tier, let me see what it's called. I'm going to find it exactly and give you the exact wording. Let me see. I don't want that. Let me see what we've got here.
It never gives you what you want.
Right? No, it never does. It never shows you exactly what you need it to say. So here are the items. We've got the Peacekeeper Core for $3 per month, which really isn't a lot. That's like one less trip to Starbucks per month. So $3 per month gets you into an exclusive group that gives scheduling announcements, gives you like some exclusive access to the 2 of us so that you know exactly what to expect and what our thoughts are on certain movies and arcs and stuff that we may not get a chance to talk about since the show is only every 2 weeks. That's a new exclusive group that is launching today. So if you go sign up at the Peacekeeper Core level, you get to be a part of that. And then there's this other level called Top 5 Fan, which is only $5 a month. And every time we discuss top 5s, we're going to ask people to send in their lists of 5. If you are a top 5 fan subscriber, you get top billing, which means no matter how busy or how full those top 5 lists get, you are guaranteed to have your top 5 read on this program. So that is a really cool feature that you can get for just $5 a month. And pretty much every month we're going to bring some kind of a top 5 function. So it's definitely something that is an investment of your time. Shout Out Friend gives you all the benefits of Peacekeeper and Top 5 with the added benefit of hearing a shout out of your name every episode. So right now, our first shout out friend is Joey Mays. Shout out to Joey for being a supporter of the IPC Podcast. If you want to be a shout out friend, then there is a tier for that as well. Now, our IPC is one that's going to be a little bit more infrequent, but we're hoping to do one around once a month, provided everybody's schedules line up. And if you become an RIPC sponsor for $10 a month, then you can be on, if your schedule allows. We'll bring you on to talk about some R-rated film or maybe just a terrible crap flick like the stuff that I like to watch. And you'll also get the top 5 billing. You'll also get the shout out. You'll also get access to the Peacekeeper Corps. So it's kind of stacked on stacked on stacked. So if you go to just 3, that's great. If you go to 5, you get the benefit of 5 and 3. If you go to 7, you get the benefits of 7, 5, and 3. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does. So patreon.com/IPC podcast. Brand new, just launched today. Definitely go check it out. And if you sign up on that friend, the shout out friend tier, you'll be part of one of the 5 people that are entered into a raffle that we are doing tonight. So we've got 3 people that have submitted their entry to the raffle for the Super Chat prize. We still need 2 more Super Chats for the raffle to be complete. Send in Super Chat any amount, and you'll be entered for an IPC prize that we're doing to celebrate our 7th anniversary. Now, Ben, one of the other elements that we do on this show, we're going to do it towards the end, but I'm going to bring it up really briefly here, is Barbecue Watch. One of the raffles that we're going to do is going to be something barbecue related, as long as people go on social media and tag us with the hashtag BBQWatch. Tell us a little about Barbecue Watch and how it got started and why a fandom podcast would talk about barbecue in the first place.
Yeah, it is kind of strange if you think about it. It's so normal to us to like, yeah, we're talking about barbecue on a sci-fi podcast, like just, normal thing. But to anyone, especially you guys at Fandom Empire who are maybe unfamiliar with IPC, you may be thinking, what the hell, guys? So here, I'll tell you the abridged version. So where I am right now, I am actually in a barbecue restaurant. Okay, so for my family, for 22 years now going on, have owned and operated a barbecue restaurant where I work. It's where it's basically my main source of income. It's the reason the IPC podcast and the SWU, like it's spawned everything basically. It's where I do all my stuff. And so we thought, hey, Zack, he's over in Texas. They love their barbecue. They're very proud of that. They got some fantastic barbecue over in Texas, and it's really big too because everything's bigger in Texas, you've heard. And also, I'm passionate about barbecue because it literally keeps me alive, and I eat it like a lot. Like I literally just ate some today. Like it's literally every day. So like that's how that came about. So basically, like, hey, let's just work it into the show. Let's make a segment where we just talk about barbecue. And yes, we talk about every facet of barbecue. So I'll give you a preview of what we're talking about tonight, and I will be leading the discussion. I was just on vacation. Last week we were off, and I was off. I was out of town, and I ate barbecue not once, not twice, but 3 times. I think if I'm counting correctly, 3 times on vacation. And I'm going to try to remember the best I can of what I ate and talk about it on tonight's Barbecue Watch.
That's awesome. Fat Pat just sent us a chat saying, I'm a chef, just left the bar. Fat Pat, I bet you have some really great recipes and some really great stories. So
yes.
Hopefully you can contribute some of that stuff when we get to that segment tonight, because there's definitely a lot of barbecue to go around in Texas. But ironically, Texas as an entire state didn't even make it into the top 5 regions for highest rated barbecue. And it's crazy. I don't understand it. It's an analysis of TripAdvisor that talks about the highest reviewed barbecue restaurants by chefspencil.com. And like number 10, if I can wow, I don't even see number 10. Where is number 10? I see number 9 is Miami. Number 8 is there's 2 9s. 9 Miami, 9 Newark.
What?
8 is Newark, New Jersey is in the top 10 with 4.18 stars. That's St. Louis, which is respectable. That is definitely deserved. 7 is Seattle, Washington. Okay, hail to the no. Hail to the no. There is no way Seattle, Washington has any better barbecue than anywhere in Texas. Columbus, Ohio is number 6, according to this. And then there's like a tie for third place between Charlotte and Virginia Beach. The Carolinas I can see with Carolina-style sauce and barbecue, but Virginia Beach, what the hell? Then number 3 also is Wichita, Kansas. And get this, number 2 is Oklahoma City barbecue. I don't think Oklahoma's ever really been known for any of their barbecue before.
No.
And then any guesses where number 1 is the highest barbecue per TripAdvisor?
I know you told me. I can't remember, so just go ahead.
New Orleans.
New Orleans? The capital of Cajun food in the world, and you give it barbecue? What?
It's
also notice the omissions in this list. No Memphis, no Kansas City, no South Carolina. Like what are you smoking? It's not barbecue, I tell you that much.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I don't agree with anything on that list, and it's stupid. There are people using the hashtag BBQ Watch over on Twitter. I say we go ahead and enter the folks anyways because they're supporting the channel. Mama Jade used the hashtag. Chris has been plugging the stuff for us, letting folks know about the show. I'm willing to let those go ahead and go in and enter them in the raffle if you are. Is that cool?
Yeah, that sounds fine to me.
So Jade and Chris are now entered in the barbecue themed raffle that we've got here. I got to make sure that I'm separating these things because I don't want to get I don't want to get the raffles mixed up. So we've got 3 out of the 5 super chats that we needed. Go ahead and send in a couple more if you want to be entered into a giveaway for tonight. Any amount of super chat, just support the show tonight, and you could end up with a prize that is worth way more than the $2 or $3 that you send in. So thank you to everybody that has supported so far, and thanks for using the hashtag over on Twitter, hashtag BBQWatch, over on the socials, and we will enter you for a raffle there as well. Ben, do you have any memories of the first episode? Now, don't say the date because that is part of the IPC themed trivia. But do you remember 7 years ago when we did our very first episode?
No, I don't. I don't think I have any memories of that. I remember it being very awkward, and I was very bad at this, and I don't know what we talked about. It was a show, and I wouldn't recommend anyone listen to it. Just for the record, it exists. It's out there somewhere. But I'm not going to listen to it. You can knock yourself out if you want to. I won't recommend it. But I would be interested to know like what we talked about and like what was on that episode, because I genuinely cannot, like, I'm racking my brain like thinking about do I have memories of that? I don't think I do.
If I recall correctly, we were going to, like, I think we just ended up recording our collaboration session, and then one of us thought that was the episode, and so we ended up just taking that collaboration about the vision casting that we had, the things that we wanted to talk about, but we didn't end up actually talking about anything. So it was like a Seinfeld episode of a podcast. It was nothing. We didn't talk about anything, and yet we still ended up doing a podcast episode. And back in that day, we pre-recorded. So we recorded it like on a Wednesday and then like distributed it on a Saturday. So like it was it was pretty crazy. But yeah, that's really the only memory I have of episode 1. And we our super chat contribution from a longtime friend of Fandom Empire. He's been on the show. He's on the staff. Kieron sends in a $5 Canadian chat that says, talk about Leprechaun for 1 minute. Dude, you're killing me, Smalls. I mean,
That's
okay.
We're talking about Leprechaun the movie, right?
We're talking about Leprechaun the movie, and we have to talk about it for 1 minute, which is about 59 seconds longer than I care to talk about it.
I mean, I've never seen it. I've only seen like the creepy like clips from it. I think Warwick Davis from Star Wars is in it. I think.
All right. I don't know if you can see my phone. You probably can't because the filter is blocking it, but I'm setting the timer 1 minute, and when it goes off, I'm done with. But yeah, Toronto Freddy says they have literally 60 seconds and go. I do recall seeing some of Leprechaun 3, and let me tell you why. Because in my hometown of Arlington, Texas, there is a bar, a actual bar. It has nothing to do with leprechauns, but every freaking time that I went to this bar, there was a Leprechaun movie playing on the TV screens. And that the only consumption of Leprechaun that I've ever had is when I would go to this bar with my girlfriend, and they would have karaoke night. They would have like a nice outdoor porch and stuff. But literally every time I went to this bar, there was a Leprechaun movie playing. And sometimes it was the same movie that I saw the last time I went. And it looked like a complete crap show. I have no doubt that it is. But unfortunately, Kieron, as you can hear, my time is up.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Kieron, for your contribution. You are officially entered in the Super Chat raffle. We still have room for one more Super Chat to contribute to that raffle. We still have a couple more spaces for the Barbecue Watch raffle. I'm following social media pretty intently. Use the hashtag BBQWatch to be entered in a barbecue-themed raffle, and go to patreon.com/IPC Podcast to become a patron and get entered for yet another raffle. There's currently only one patron on that Patreon, and he's been a longtime supporter of the show, and damn it if Joey Mays isn't going to get the prize if nobody else signs up, because he has been a huge supporter of our show for so long. But yeah, go sign up over at patreon.com/IPC Podcast. And thanks to everyone who's been a part of the show so far this evening. We really, there's been a lot of really active chats going on. I'm trying to keep up with it as best I can. But I mean, goodness gracious, there's so many active people, dude. Can you remember the last time we had at this active?
I'm not sure we've ever had a chat this active. Like, it's crazy. I love it. I love seeing it. I'll get myself too distracted, and I won't be able to talk if I try to read every single comment, which sucks. But yeah, thanks guys for being here. Dang.
It's really cool. So while we get ready for our top fives, you guys can go ahead and start submitting your top five movies. It would help if you sent it in as a super chat, because we're going to get lost in these chats, and if you send it as a super, it stands out to us a lot better.
And also you get a thing, you get a raffle thing. So
the first to send in a super chat with your top 5 favorite movies is also entered for the raffle for a giveaway. So yeah, it's a win-win situation. So send us those top 5s for your favorite movies as we get ready to talk about ours. And as we do it, I guess it's time that we bring in the third member of our team, the guy who's been hosting stuff behind the scenes, sending stuff into the chat. He's got control over how we do our transitions in the scenes, so I hope he's still here with us. But ladies and gentlemen, please help us welcome our friend, our producer, the host of Fandom Empire. It's Sean Giroux. Dude, welcome to the inaugural episode of IPC on Fandom Empire. Thank you again so much for having us.
Thank you for being here. It's a blast, and seeing Chris in the chat and Steven Shinder and some other old faces. I feel like it's Back to the Future tonight, and loving it.
Or less. There's a little bit of a throwback, a little bit of nostalgia to it, if you will. But it's cool that people like Steven and George and Francisco was here at the top of the show. I don't know if he can stay up for the whole program. He goes to bed kind of early, but yeah, there's been some familiar faces from the Intergalactic Peace Hangout, formerly Peacekeeper Corps, that are hanging out with us tonight, along with a lot of regulars from Fandom Empire. And yeah, we appreciate it a lot. Now, Ben mentioned earlier in the show that, you know, horror flicks weren't really his thing, but lucky for us, that's pretty much how Fandom Empire got started. There's a lot of other fandoms that get covered, but the primary thing around here is horror and slasher. So I think it kind of works out pretty well. You guys cover all that, and we try and cover as much everything else we can.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Started off, you know, doing the Star Wars thing for a while and still talk Star Wars. But I had a passion for horror that I didn't think that I could express elsewhere. And so we came here, and it's been fun. But to see a good blend of that and what you guys got going on here, I think it really brings the channel full circle.
I think so. And it also helps that we've got like a very different color scheme. It really helps us kind of differentiate ourselves from the stuff that FE does. There's a lot of reds and oranges there, and we got a lot of teals and blues going on tonight. Of course, I got like an orange Whataburger hat on. I don't know if you guys can see it, but this is themed after my favorite restaurant, and it has the state of Texas outline in the design. So yeah, I'm sporting some orange because I'm sporting my home state here. So Whataburger forever. But you actually did some horror film coverage earlier today before IPC even debuted, and so you're super active with the Patreon shows that you're doing, the twice weekly Fandom Empire live shows. People are asking, "Where's the goddamn poster?" He puts it up in front of the camera there. It's a hand-drawn poster, a beautiful piece of artwork that I need to get blown up and put on as my screensaver for my phone because it's freaking hilarious. But dude, we're getting a lot of the fives in, but before that, I just want to hear your thoughts again on the image that was released. And keep in mind that we try and keep this show as close to PG-13 as we possibly can, but I know that you had some very, very strong visceral reactions to Empire Magazine's photo drop earlier today.
Yeah, I mean, to be blunt, it sucked. I don't know any other way to put it. I know the popular thing is we're supposed to come on here and be like, it's the new image of, you know, Halloween movie that we've been talking about for 2 years. The same way a Star Wars podcast would be all over a new Star Wars image that they've been waiting for. And it just wasn't any good. It was terrible. It I didn't like any part of it. And I know I wasn't alone in that, so I didn't feel completely at loss being the only guy to express that. Other people did too, but it's an image. Let's wait for a poster. Let's wait for a trailer. It's an image. An image isn't going to make a movie good or bad.
How mad are you going to be if that image somehow gets incorporated in the poster?
I actually wouldn't be surprised if it's very close to that.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm thinking. Like, just based on how close to the chest they've been keeping things and how little they want to get out. I know that you have read the script. Like, you know what's going to happen. But just based on how little they've revealed up to this point, I don't think it would be surprising to find that this movie has very, very little revealed before the movie so that people are compelled to actually see the entire film and not feel like they got spoiled from what they saw online previously.
Yeah, I think if like you're not someone that's reading spoilers or looking at any of that stuff and you've stayed away from that and you've seen the film back in 2018, I think you're going to be absolutely blown away by it. Obviously, you'll be less blown away if you know spoilers, but that's to say any film, you know.
That's true.
If anybody knew Han Solo was dying in The Force Awakens, and I'm pretty sure all of us did here before seeing it, it's not as impactful, right?
Right. But
yeah.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
No. I was just I'm just looking at this going like, oh, hey, I didn't realize William Shatner was in this. He looks a lot better than I remembered.
William Shatner.
I love you, Shat.
William Shatner does show up in one of my favorite slasher films, but it's not Halloween. It's something called A Christmas Horror Story, and it's another one of those B-flick horror films. It's just so terrible you end up having to love it. But I do find it really interesting that you have those types of little tidbits that are incorporated into a film, because the first Halloween movie came in the 70s, and so that was right after some of the popularity of the OG Star Trek in the late 60s, and so they were kind of harnessing on that and ended up making it something that was a completely different dynamic and yet also somehow recognizable, which I thought was really, really interesting. Sean had to step away for a second, but I think we're going to go ahead and get into our top fives, and we'll bring him in to list his five in a second.
We got some in the chat, actually, if you want me to read them off real quick.
Let's read off the ones from the chat while Sean steps away and then comes back to us in a second here, because there are some really great lists here, and there are people who are sending stuff in, and it's still coming, which is really cool. So I'm going to make sure that I don't miss anyone. I think the first list that we got was from Melissa, who said Batman with Michael Keaton at number 5, Beetlejuice at number 4, Roadhouse at 3, Breakfast Club at 2, and at number 1 is Halloween. Not a whole lot of surprises there, at least from what I know about Melissa, but it's a great list, Melissa. Thank you for sending that in.
Oh, that's great. And now next we've got Toronto Freddy, who says number 5, UHF. What's UHF? Somebody tell me.
Got me.
Toronto Freddy, you gotta clarify that real quick. Number 4, Batman 89. Number 3, Human Traffic. Number 2, Halloween 78, and number 1, A Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. I didn't know that was a thing.
Whole Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, which is a lot bigger than I expected it to be, and yet it's still very prevalent, and there's like a cult following, and that's something we're definitely going to find the more we dive into the Fandom Empire fandom. There's a lot of people that see some of those slasher films that are just like, oh, that one is not very critically acclaimed, but it's one that I really love, which is basically how I feel about zombies. So we get along pretty well, I think. Michael Bish, he made his debut on Fandom Empire Live last night, I believe. I think my name's mixed up. I hope I'm not. He's got Home Alone at number 5, The Shining at number 4, The Dark Knight at number 3, Halloween 78 at number 2, and at number 1, Back to the Future. Michael, we have discussed the Back to the Future franchise, and we have discussed Dark Knight twice. We've done Christmas movies before, but we haven't gotten around to Home Alone. I feel like we kind of need to now based on that list. Thanks for sending that in.
It's amazing that Home Alone doesn't get talked about like more, and like I don't talk about it more because that movie is amazing. Like it is so incredible, and like it is a instant classic, Christmas movie or otherwise. Like it's so good.
That is really, really cool. Let's put that here. Before we go to that, we've got a new patron.
Yes, we do.
Chad Benty just became a top 5 patron. So where is Chad's list? Has he sent one into us yet?
It is somewhere. I thought I saw one in the chat from him, unless I missed it.
Well, let's dates while we've got it here. But since he is a top 5 patron, he's going to get billing on any future top 5 episodes that we do. So even though there's a lot of really great live chats here, if Chad sends one in either beforehand or during the broadcast, he gets top billing. So let's see what we got here. Jay has she says The Princess Bride at number 1, Beetlejuice number 2, April Fool's Day at number 3, The Shining at number 4, and then Baby Shark Space Adventure. Just kidding. Somebody's watching a lot of the birds come out from our producer Sean. Something tells me that man is sick of hearing Baby Shark going to space. But the B movie is actually her number 5, and she says, "Don't judge." But Jade, we do not judge over something like that, not in the slightest. So
we love zombies here, all right? If anyone's going to be judged, it's us for loving that movie.
Oh man, we need to do like DreamWorks stuff though, because like we really should do like a DreamWorks series with movie, Madagascar, Shrek, How to Train Your Dragon. Like that's something on the horizon, folks. I can guarantee it. We're gonna have to do How to Train Your Dragon arc at some point.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of those. I've heard they're amazing, so obviously I've seen like all the Shrek movies, much to my chagrin. But yeah.
Why don't you tell us Kieron's, because the next list on the stuff is actually one that's special to me. So I'll do the list after Kieron's. Is that all right?
Yeah, absolutely. Kieron says number 5, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. Number 4, The Dark Knight. Number 3, The Fugitive. Great choice. Number 2, Lord of the Rings, and number 1, The Big Lebowski. That's a great list. That's a solid list, Kieron. Good one.
That is a really great list, and very diverse too. I love how diverse that one is. That's really cool. But yeah, that's a really great list, Kieron. Thank you. And then this one, here's why it's special, because it's my girlfriend Edna, and she was sort of like on the fence about actually tuning in. She knew it was a big day coming up, but she also didn't like want to interfere with the big day, and yet here she is in the chat contributing. So thank you, babe. I appreciate you being a part of this day. At number 5, Coraline. We actually haven't watched that together yet. We need to watch that.
Oh my god.
We have seen Toy Story. Day 3 is 28 Days Later. Number 2 is Step Brothers. We actually have watched that one too. I got a funny story about Step Brothers, by the way. And then at number 1, Back to the Future. Do we need to do like a revisited Back to the Future based on these lists, dude? That's the second time it's showed up in people's top 5.
I freaking love Back to the Future. So I'm always game to watch it and talk about it. So yeah, guys, let us know if you want to hear like revisited discussions. Obviously, it's already on our feed. You can go listen to that discussion right now if you want to. But it's always fun to just go back, and I forget what I say about these things, and I forget what I thought. So it's always fun to revisit them.
It is. It really is. Here's the fun fact about Step Brothers. We were watching that movie. I had never seen it before, and they do this part where the two of them are bonding, like verge of bonding. I'm sorry, am I boring you?
Usually, I can yawn in peace and no one sees me. Now, I'm not gonna have to just do this anytime I want to yawn. Like,
just step away and turn off the camera.
That means I get no sleep. It doesn't mean I'm bored. All right, don't judge me.
The man works all day and then podcasts in the evening. I know the
you know that
you
know that struggle.
Oh, dude, I've broadcasted baseball games after a 10-hour workday before, so I get it. I totally get it. Yeah, that's my side hustle, by the way. When I'm not doing the IPC podcast, I'm broadcasting for a high school team doing baseball and football. So that is also something to maybe watch out for one day. I could be a sports broadcaster. Who knows? But like my comfort level behind a microphone was only grown and increased because of the stuff we do here on IPC. So it's like a domino effect. But going back to Step Brothers real quick, we were watching that movie. I'd never seen it before. And the two main characters, who are Step Brothers, obviously, John C. Reilly and why am I blanking on his name? It's not Will Ferrell. I wanted to say Will Smith. I was like, that's not right. John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell are bonding, and they look into each other's eyes, and they're like, all right, we're going to name the best dinosaur on the count of 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And at the exact same time that they said it, I also Velociraptor. And you know that gif where it's like, did we just become best friends?
I knew it. It
was that scene. It was that line. And she looked at me, Edna did, and was like, have you seen this before? And I was like, no, I swear to God, I haven't. But we just had similar interests. And so that became like an instant classic for me just because of that line. It was so enjoyable. Let's see, what have we got here? I think we actually got one from Chad, one of our top sponsors here. Where we Phantom Empire, Sean sent in his list. We'll come back to that after we circle back from Chad. 5 is the original Iron Man. At 4, Captain America Winter Soldier. At 3, The Last Jedi. At 2, Batman v Superman. We've actually discussed Batman v Superman on this show before.
Twice.
And at number 1, Zack Snyder's Justice League.
Wow. I think that's the newest movie on anyone's list tonight.
Yeah, definitely one of the most recent ones. I mean, it came out like a month and a half ago, and it's broken up into parts because you could literally spend a week watching and dissecting this film in all its depth and glory.
And also, officially, we haven't had like a full episode devoted to that thing. So that's coming up. You guys can look forward to a full-on Justice League discussion in the near future.
Definitely something to look forward to. We're working on our schedule for what we're going to be doing next, but that's definitely in the not-too-distant future. So be on the lookout for that.
We got...
I'm assuming this list, did somebody else send in that list from Fandom Empire? Because I thought you were going to tell us.
I saw the Fandom Empire. I'm like, who is that? Who are you?
Guys, like, don't know. Oh, if this is you or not.
So Chris Sequel's in the chat. He's back. And he has...
Thanks for hanging out, dude.
Yeah, so he has number 5, Pulp Fiction. Number 4, You've Got Mail. Number 3, Mr. Nobody. Number 2, The Dark Knight. And number 1, surprise, surprise, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. You know, he's got a big nostalgia trip for that, and I'd quite forgotten about that. But I don't judge any of those at all. Pulp Fiction's a great film. The Dark Knight, spoiler alert, probably going to show up in my top 5. So that's a really great list, dude. Thanks for sending that.
Okay, Sean confirmed it was him in the chat.
Oh, it was him. Okay. Cat73, one more list before we get to ours. At number 5, Ferris Bueller's Day Off. At number 4, Return of the Jedi. At number 3, Empire Strikes Back. Number 2, A New Hope. And at the top of the list is the original Halloween. No surprise there. There's a lot of Halloween fans on this channel, and we're going to do our best to talk about Halloween when we have the opportunity. But the best place to look for that will be over at our IPC. So be sure to hit that up as well.
Also, shout out to our good buddy Chris Abbott, aka Star Raptor, who just showed up in the chat and says, "Whoa, I can see your faces."
It's crazy, right?
You can see my face, Chris. Also, shout out to Star Raptor for being like an incredible friend and a good co-host, because he's been helping us out recently, and he co-hosted like the past 3 episodes. And it was amazing. Like some of our best content, I think. Go check him out.
I was out of commission doing baseball stuff. My team ended up going to the playoffs, which was really cool, but it ended up conflicting a lot of my Fridays, and Chris stepped up big time. Chris Abbott stepped up big time. So thank you to Star Raptor. Go see his channel if you want some really good movie and video game reviews. He's got some really good stuff there as well. Kieron says he's off to bed. I'll finish the episode tomorrow. Thanks for joining us, Kieron. We appreciate you supporting us. And if you win the raffle, I'll let you know tomorrow, because he's one of the 4 people entered in the Super Chat raffle, along with Chad, Freddie, and Chris Sequel. We do have room for one more for that raffle there, so be sure to send in your Super Chats to be entered there. I went ahead and put Chad in the patron section because I just want to thank anybody that becomes a patron of the show. So Joey became a patron earlier today. Chad is now a patron. If you want to be entered for a really big raffle, this is the biggest, most expensive giveaway we're doing tonight, then you've got to become a patron of the show at patreon.com/IPC Podcast. The link is in the third. So go ahead and hit us up there, and we'll enter you for what is going to be the biggest raffle of the night. I guarantee it. But there is a pretty big raffle for the Super Chats as well. So any amount counts. Any amount. It could be $2, $3, $5. Doesn't matter. But any amount of a Super Chat will enter you in a raffle for a really cool giveaway that we're doing to celebrate 7 years the Intergalactic Peace Coalition podcast. So Sean says that he's going to stick to the producer role tonight. So I think it's best if we just go ahead and go into our top fives after reading. He sent them in the chat to contribute to what we're doing, but he's going to stick to being producer tonight, and I respect that. It's been a long day for him. He
deserves a break.
He's got Halloween 4 at his fifth spot, The Dark Knight at number 4, The Shining at number 3, Revenge of the Sith at number 2, and Empire Strikes Back at number 1.
Solid.
I was not expecting Halloween 4, but it also doesn't surprise me to know anything about Sean, so it doesn't faze me. It doesn't surprise me at all. But that's another really solid list. And dude, we're gonna have to have you back on the show when you're not having a headache and when you're not dealing with a whole crap storm of a day, because you've always got some really great hot takes, more or less.
We love hot takes. We got them ourselves sometimes.
It's what makes a show really great. Flinter's a little late to the party, but says top 5 movies of all time. Close enough. We're doing top 5 favorite movies, but wanted to do the top 5 movies of all time. That's great. My list would be a little bit different from top 5 favorite movies versus top 5 all-time movies, if that makes sense. Because, like, when you're doing favorite movies, there's a little bit of bias in there. But then when you're doing, like, the best movies, you're also kind of like, okay, this is unequivocally an amazing movie. It's just not one that's, like, a personal favorite of mine. You know what I mean?
Right.
So what we're going to be doing is doing our top 5 favorite movies. Woo, I got really pixelated there. I apologize. I don't know what's happening to my face. I'm going to try and zoom in, see if I can center. Focus. Nope. I'm just going to be pixelated, apparently. I don't know what's going on. I'll step back. Did that. Oh, I just look fuzzy and further away now. So
we can still hear you. That's the important thing.
If you're listening on iTunes and Google Play, it doesn't really matter how I look. Maybe I've been turning to look at the chat too much, and all of a sudden my face just looks like crap.
And I will say, because some people have expressed concerns about, like, oh, is this gonna be like a YouTube show? No. We're still doing audio. You guys, if you've been listening strictly just audio version, you're still gonna get that. Audio version, you're still gonna get that in your feed. We'll try not to do too many things that are visual based. If you're listening to the show and you're just listening, you'll still find it enjoyable. We're gonna lean into the video thing and do as much as we can with that. And so yeah, it's been fun.
I seem to be back and maybe I'm a little less fuzzy now. Thank you, Sean, for your efforts. I'll go ahead and lead off with my number 5. And honestly, if I'm being very truthful, it's tough to do 5 in a particular sequence because all of these movies I love so much. At number 5, it's going to be the 1994 original Lion King movie. That's number 5.
Yeah.
That would be my number 5.
Ooh. Yeah. For me, it's gonna be Toy Story. That movie, man.
Good list. That is a good list. I love Toy Story, and I'm gonna stop moving around quite so much. Hopefully that helps things a little bit. But I need to just put the chat like more in front of me so that I don't end up getting all messy. But it's funny that we both picked animated films at our number 5, but spoiler alert, there are no more animated films after this for me. At number 4, the original Guardians of the Galaxy. I love the music, the action, the comedy, the characters. It completely changed action movies and superhero movies for me as I knew it. And so Guardians will be number 4 for me.
Yeah. I think my number 4 is gonna have to be an Indiana Jones movie because I love Indiana Jones.
It better not be Indy 4. I'm hanging up on you right now if it's Indy 4.
It's the one before that, all right?
Last Crusade?
The Last Crusade.
Okay.
I think, because I love Raiders. It's fantastic, and I'll watch it any day of the week. But there's something about Last Crusade. That movie is just, it's incredible, and like it knows what it's doing. It's like indie, just like personified. It's so goofy, it's so funny, and yeah, it's just great.
I do enjoy the dynamic between him and his dad. The two of them together, Sean Connery and Harrison Ford, that's just an amazing 1-2 combo. If you told me that Sean Connery and Harrison Ford were in a movie together, it doesn't matter what the movie is, I'm freaking watching it, okay?
Exactly.
Like, guaranteed. Man, this is really, really tough because these last three are like favorites of me. I have the poster, all three of these movies hanging up on my. That's how into these movies I am. But at number 3, it's probably going to be The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight is one of my top 3 movies of all time. The cinema, the action, storytelling, the pacing, everything about it is just freaking brilliant. And that would be my number 3.
Yeah. My number 3 is Back to the Future.
Oh, okay. That's funny. I wasn't expecting that to be on your list, but I'm glad that it is, because reaffirms that we probably need to do a revisited of that. There's been a lot of talk about it in the chat, and there's probably going to be a lot more to talk about it whenever we end up doing a revisit. So, be on the lookout for that, folks. We might end up talking about BTTF now.
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah.
Number 2. This is tough.
It is
really, really tough. Like I'm looking at these going like, I bet you can guess which one of the two I'm looking at. Like it's a coin flip, honestly, because these are like 2 of my favorite movies and 2 of the best movies of all time, in my opinion. And at number 2, I'm gonna have to go with Empire Strikes Back.
Wow.
It bums me out, but in this moment that I am having right now, I am saying that I enjoy the other movie more than I've been enjoying Empire. And that's saying something, because I freaking love Empire. But I'm freaking enjoying this other movie a lot more for whatever reason. So, yeah.
That's a good list. That's good. I think that's a great choice. My number 2, it might be surprising. I don't know, because I don't get a chance to talk about this movie very much, but I literally watch it all the time. It's Spider-Man Far From Home.
Really?
I can't get enough of that movie.
I was not expecting that. But
I like to be unexpected.
Yeah, you're the surprising one. I'm not very surprising. For those of you that listen to IPC, you know what's coming next. You know what my number 1's about to be. But tell me why Far From Home, as opposed to like other Spider-Man or even other Marvel movies. I half expected a Captain America movie to be higher ranked than Far From Home.
Yeah, you would think that. And I mean, Captain America's up there. The Captain America trilogy is definitely up there. But like, man, I could do a TED Talk like easy about like how Far From Home is easily the best live action Spider-Man movie and one of the best superhero films and one of the best Marvel films of all time. Because it's incredible. Just think, and I literally, we would be here all night if you got me started. But like, case in point, like it's just an amazing movie. Like I think it's generally one of the best of the MCU so far. And yeah, I think we might have to revisit that one too, because it's really great. It's like comfort food for me, like comfort food for the brain. I'll just like put it on at any point. It's great.
So, like when you're working, do you like put it on in your earpieces and just listen to it while you're working?
That's actually a great idea. I hadn't thought about that, but I do like. I've seen it so many times now that like I could just play it in my head just at will. So it's not a big deal for that.
Yeah. The next movie that I'm about to list is one that I have memorized by heart. Like I know it word for word. I can say it word for word. And there are very few movies that I can do that with. I can do it with The Lion King. I can do it with Emperor's New Groove. I can do it with like a couple of really obscure Muppet movies because my brother watched them continuously when he was younger. But this movie is one that I can do just like that. But it's a little bit older. It's actually a movie that came out a couple of months before I was born. So I literally grew up on this movie more or less. I grew up a fan of the concept and then became a fan of the franchises basically as soon as I discovered it. And that movie is Jurassic Park. Jurassic Park is my number one favorite movie of all time. I grew up a fan of dinosaurs, and now I'm just a fan of the Jurassic franchise. The third season of Camp Cretaceous is coming out next week on Netflix, and I am freaking excited about that. They've done an awesome job so far, and so it's an exciting time to be a Jurassic fan. I'm looking forward to Dominion, and I'm looking forward to Cretaceous Season 3. And anytime it's raining outside, anytime I'm feeling down in the dumps and need a comfort movie, surprisingly, I end up going to Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that was not at all surprising from you, but so delightful because, like, guys, just for the record here, this guy basically made me a Jurassic fan. Like, I always loved Jurassic Park. I kind of grew up on it, kind of was traumatized as a kid also watching that movie, but like always was kind of like this thing that I can enjoy off to the side. This guy, like his infectious love of just everything Jurassic Park is so, as I said, infectious. And like I can even watch like Jurassic Park 3 and get something out of it because of him. Because we've talked about like this movie is so stupid and so dumb, but I kind of love it.
Honestly, I was not expecting to get something out of 3 until I ended up reading the books, and that is something that we've talked about on IPC before, which is really cool.
And the best episode ever of IPC is the one where you went solo and talked about the books in detail.
It is freaking not. It is
no,
not.
It's the best. It's the best episode. Guys, go listen to that. I'll give you the episode number later. You go listen to that one.
Do not do that. Do not. I will disown you, sir. We've got our super chats. Woo! We've got our super chats. Cat73 in a $2 super chat, and that rounds out the 5 for our 5 super chat raffle. $2 saying congrats on 7 years. Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for being a part of the show. And so here's what we're going to do. I've got this thing called the roulette wheel, and it's basically just something that allows us to come up with custom names, and then we spin the wheel and it tells us who's going to be the winner of the super chat raffle. So Ben, while I'm putting those names together, do you mind scrolling through the chat and making sure we've read everybody's top 5? I think Steven Schinder sent us a chat, and Flinner sent us a list as well.
Yes, let me go back. I see Steven Schinder, who said in no particular order. You know how I feel about that, Steven.
Steven.
Don't trigger me now. Don't trigger me live on camera. Don't do that to me. Okay, never mind. I'll get over it. I'll get past it. I'm going to read his list in no particular order. He says, for me, at this moment of the top of my head, Back to the Future, The Empire Strikes Back, The Fellowship of the Ring, The Lion King, and The Prince of Egypt. That's a darn good list.
Another DreamWorks movie that we need to talk about at some point. That is a freaking great movie.
Yes.
Hey, and then I think I've
I see Flinner.
I found Flinner's up here. Another one that's not in any order, but just off the top of my head. Another.
Okay.
See.
Okay. Not in any order.
Like structure, okay? Ben likes you actually do a 5 and you put numbers on the 5.
You have to go by the rules, all right? Even though the rules are not specifically like laid out in any form, we don't actually have rules. You still got to go by them, all right?
Arbitrary Ben Hart rules, apparently.
The rules
But-
in my head. All right.
Here's this list: Terminator 2, Judgment Day, Good Will Hunting, The Lion King, Before Sunrise, and The Dark Knight. I think I've seen all except one of those films. So that's a really great list, man. Thanks for sending that in. All right, so here's how it works. I put the 5 names on this roulette wheel, and I don't know if it'll let you see my phone. Can you see that? Is that a glare? But
maybe
it's I guess it's an honor system. Maybe I'll take a screenshot of it or something like that. But since there's 5 people, there's 10 spokes on the wheel, and each person's name is on there twice. So let me see. No, wait, hold on. Let me make sure I did that right. I think I'm supposed to add more. Add another option, Cat 73. Cat 73 has officially been added. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 options. Go to the wheel. Yep. Okay. So Chad, Freddie, Chris Sequel, Kieron, and Cat 73 all have spokes on this roulette wheel. And I don't know if you can hear that.
Yeah.
But it is spinning as we speak. And the winner of our Super Chat giveaway is Toronto Freddy.
Whoa, Freddie!
Toronto Freddy, you are the king of Super Chat roulette, and
Congrats.
the aforementioned prize for that is actually a prize that is currently on back order right now. We're waiting for it to get delivered to us, but congratulations to you, Freddie. We're going to get your contact info shipped out to you as soon as it is available. But Toronto Freddy is the winner of our Super Chat raffle, and the prize is a Black Series 6-inch tech action figure from the TV show The Bad Batch, which
Hell
is
yeah.
very fitting because that's our subject tonight. Is the Batch. That's our primary subject. We've been doing all this stuff to kind of introduce ourselves and reminisce on 7 years, but one of the things we do is actually talk about a particular topic. And we've got a really cool one in store for everyone tonight in the first 3 episodes of The Bad Batch, including Aftermath, which is a 70-minute feature.
Yeah.
So that is that's actually really cool, and I want to get your thoughts on that for starters, Ben.
Well, okay, really quick though. Missed something. I didn't give my number 1.
Are you kidding?
I didn't.
I feel like an ass.
No, you're fine. We got the winners like right when I was gonna say my number 1, and we just glossed over it. And it's a wonder I even remembered. I want to get into Bad Batch, so I'm just gonna get it out of the way, and it's kind of surprising. So for one, real quick, I am omitting Star Wars from my list. I am not mentioning Star Wars because that's boring. All right, everybody knows Star Wars is number 1. It's the automatic number 1 on any list that I ever create. All right, so I'm leaving it off. All right, you guys know. Plus, I really couldn't pick one. All right, I couldn't. So that was my problem. But ultimately, the one I came down to, the number 1 or number 2, depending on how you look at it from a certain point of view, is Guardians of the Galaxy.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
That movie, I've seen it so many times at this point. I can't even. It's just it's the movie like go to like if I've got a couple hours, I'm gonna put it on. It's just comfort. It's comfort food for the brain. Like it's so good.
Apparently, Toronto Freddy has some very, very particular thoughts on Star Wars, and lucky for him, that's the one prize we actually haven't purchased yet. So, Freddy, reach out to us on Facebook, and we'll see if we can arrange something that's a little more up your alley, my friend. But
okay. Well, we can make something work. Yeah, sure.
We can make it work. That's the one prize. The other 2 prizes are fixed. We've already bought those prizes, so you're kind of stuck with it. But that was.
I want that tech figure, all right. I want that thing.
Hell, dude, I'm not even really much of an action figure guy, but I liked the way that I thought it would be cool, but we ended up drawing a winner who's more into horror than he is into Star Wars, and that's cool. That's part of the learning and growth.
Look, you won. Toronto Freddy won fair and square. We'll make it work for you, man.
We will accommodate, my friend. Don't worry.
Oh, people are freaking out in the chat now that I don't have Star Wars in my top 5. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I disappointed you.
Toronto Freddy, if you're not following us on Facebook, that's probably the best way to do it. Facebook.com/IPC Podcast. And if y'all aren't following us on our socials, you probably should do so anyways. IPC Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We got some really cool stuff going on over there. The hashtag BBQ Watch really hasn't been used all that much. So go use that hashtag on Twitter, and you'll be entered for a barbecue-related drawing. There's only 2 entries right now. We need 3 more in order to do the barbecue-themed raffle over on Twitter. So go use hashtag BBQ Watch and tag the IPC Podcast on social media. Dude, Guardians is a really great movie, and that's why it's in top 5. Love that movie. It's my favorite Marvel movie. But I'm really enjoying this so far from the Bad Batch as well. And we're finally getting to our discussion topic. We've been at this for an hour and 20 minutes or something like that, and we're just now getting to the discussion topic. That's pretty typical of us, not even kidding.
It really is. But let's get into it, because there's a lot to break down. Just 70 minutes on the first episode, plus the 30 minutes we've got from since then, from the episode Cut and Run, which was released a few days after that. And then today, as of recording this, we got a new episode titled Replacements. And oh man, that was an episode. If you've seen that, we'll get into some light spoilers in a few minutes. If you haven't seen it, we'll try to be respectful. But Zach, I want to throw it to you first, because I actually haven't talked to you about this officially. What were your initial impressions of the premiere and what you've seen so far?
And I had my doubts at first about having a feature type of premiere, because Star Wars: The Clone Wars did that, and it kind of sucked, if I'm being honest.
Fair enough.
And the only other TV show feature-length film premiere I ever saw was the 70-minute feature for Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the movie. I don't know if you've ever seen Buzz Lightyear of Star Command, the TV show on the Disney Channel, but it's like a cartoonized adventures of Buzz Lightyear actually working in the Gamma Quadrant of Sector 4. And it was a pretty sucky movie too. So I had my doubts, but they basically treated it as one giant story instead of 3 miniature episodes. And they told a really great story. You got to see Order 66 from their perspective. You got to see their confusion, and you actually see one of their members get influenced by the inhibitor chip and how that shakes up the dynamic of the group. All in all, I thought the storytelling was really great. I thought the visuals were really great. I loved seeing Tarkin again. I loved Kamino and some of the politics that are going on now that the war is over. There's a lot to dissect, and so far the show's done a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, it's tackled that era of Star Wars, which we really haven't explored before, which is this immediately after Revenge of the Sith, going into this very dark time. We've explored the dark times, but not going into the dark times. How did the Republic transition into the Empire?
Yeah,
and it's something, and this is kind of the show that I've always wanted. We all knew before 2012, before anybody thought about Disney buying Lucasfilm, there was always the idea of yes, the Clone Wars is going to end someday. What could be the next show? What could be the sequel to Clone Wars? What could actually happen after the Clone Wars? How could we see the clones transition into stormtroopers, or get, as we see, kind of discarded and thrown away for recruits? I think Bad Batch is giving me, and I think a lot of people, that exact show, the show that I really, really wanted, which is showing it purely from the clones' perspective, and giving us this really grounded, real, very dark at times approach to this era that I wasn't even expecting, and I won't get into it just yet, but like there's some really dark stuff that happens in this third episode that's like I didn't know they were going to go there. Like it's really bad. And then the first episode just sets the tone and the way you see Palpatine's speech and all this kind of stuff. And Order 66 goes down and Caleb Doom and all that kind of stuff. Like that was just totally unexpected and an amazing surprise, but also a very dark turn. I think the Bad Batch, because I was like a lot of people, I was like, okay, why are we doing the Bad Batch? Like I like them as characters in that first arc. I thought they were neat, but like building a whole show around them, really, is this really where we want to go? And I was as skeptical as anyone. But going to this, I think this first episode really solidified like this show, like getting to the point of like showing you why this show exists.
Yeah.
And the reason the Bad Batch are what we were doing is like they're like the only clones in the galaxy besides Captain Rex that don't know. You have Wrecker going, what's Order 66? Like they're so confused. They're confused like everyone else. They're possibly the only clones in the galaxy that aren't affected by this. And even one of their own is affected by this. So like going into this, I think it's perfect to like get this from their perspective, because if we just got the perspective of a random clone, like we just like, hey, yeah, Empire, like it's giving these guys a chance who are kind of these like rough and tumble, like we don't play by the rules, we're this shady group and type or whatever. You really don't know where their morals lie. They actually are contrasted, and they're forced to be like really heroic because they're put up against this Empire, which is extremely evil. If right off the bat, killing all the Jedi. Mm-hmm. And I think through that 70 minutes, like I grew to love Hunter and Wrecker and all these guys because they really stepped up, and it's like, they weren't just like, oh, we don't care, we don't play by the rules. It's like they have morals, they have grounds. Like when they're told to kill the Jedi, they're like, wait a minute, what is this all about? Mm-hmm. And I love that. I love that they turn them into characters. And then furthermore, you get into Omega and all this kind of stuff. It's way deeper than I ever expected it to be. And we're just 3 episodes in.
Yeah. So here's my hot take, if you will.
All right.
Just the Bad Batch, then this show doesn't work. But by including Omega,
yep,
adds some depth to the show that the Bad Batch arc and the Bad Batch storyline didn't have on its own. You now have like a young person that they have to look out for and care for. You are seeing the galaxy from a young person's perspective while also seeing a war going on around them. You have a little bit of mystery shrouded around them. You've never seen something like a female clone before or something like that. But essentially you're getting all new storylines and all new character dynamics by throwing in somebody that is somewhat similar to the Bad Batch, but also completely not like them in every sense of the word.
Right. That's what's so fascinating. She's like the opposite of the Bad Batch. She is part of the Bad Batch. She is the 5th member, truly, but she's nothing like them. And it surprises them, but she's like just drawn to them. She's like, hey, you're like me. Even though she's a little girl, and she's full of, this optimism and all this, curiosity, and she's nothing like them, but she's put with them. And, as you see in the second episode, like they're trying to figure out like what this is. Echo is like, why do we have a girl with us? Like, what are we supposed to do here? And ultimately it comes down to like them being this force to step up. And yes, the whole idea of like, mercenaries or like tough guys having to take care of a cute baby is not a new concept in Star Wars. Yeah, I get that. But I think this is different enough. And I think I like this idea of like what basically 4 dudes and a baby, basically, doing this thing and trying to take care of this thing and really opening them up to like how deep can you get. And I think Hunter specifically has already gotten so deep and so heartwarming, and him kind of opening up and kind of unlocking some, I don't know, parental stuff within him, because he's just this tough guy that's been bred to blow things up and stuff like that, and then track or whatever he does. Now he's facing this enormous challenge of raising a kid and taking care of her.
And that's the thing that you see in the ensuing episodes, both cut and run and replacements. You're seeing Hunter kind of take on not just a leadership role, but also kind of a father role or a foster father type of role. And that adds some depth to both characters, really, because great in wartime, but what is he in the parent dynamic? And this is probably one of my favorite components of the Clone Wars so far, of Bad Batch meeting Clone Wars, is the cut that they made in episode 2, going all the way back to season 1 of the Clone Wars, bringing in this one standalone episode and a way to circle it all the way back to Order 66 and beyond, bringing back Cut LaQuaine and his family. Holy crap. I didn't see that coming when the show was first announced, but now that I'm seeing it, it makes total sense. And when you throw Omega into the mix, it makes even more sense, because now you've got a clone is a parent teaching a Bad Batcher how to be a parent. It's freaking genius.
It's perfect. I wasn't as surprised as some people, because I kind of saw the writing on the wall. It was kind of, cut and run. They kind of spelled it out, and I'm reading some spoilers too, so I kind of ruined it for myself. But ultimately, seeing that and going back to that, and The Deserter is genuinely top 5 episodes of Clone Wars of all time. It's an incredible episode, one of the best of the entire series, and it. The character of Cut LaQuaine and how much he has an effect on Rex when he first meets him and all this kind of stuff, and opening up the idea that clones do have a free will. They aren't just bred for war. They can have a choice and have someone be a conscientious objector to the war and saying, I don't want to kill for a living. I just want to live my life and have free will. And him doing that and now putting into this, and it's really sad. It's really sad because this is the end of that now. This episode shows them the Empire is coming, and now they have to go. They have to leave their from Harmstead and go elsewhere and run from the Empire, and abandon everything that we came to know at that farm on Seleucami. And it's great, but also contrasting that with and having Hunter kind of see oh man, this guy's he's a great dad. He's everything I'm not, and that's why he convinces himself, you gotta take her. You gotta take this kid off my hands. You're clearly cut out for this. I'm not. You understand where he's coming from, but it's not the right choice.
He's cut out for that.
I did not plan. Okay, just for the record here, I do all the time unintentional puns, because this is also the Intergalactic Pun Coalition podcast, and I do intergalactic unintentional puns, and sometimes they have to be pointed out to me.
That's what you keep me around for. Just saying. Chad did make mention that Cut actually showed up in episode 10 of season 2. I mentioned that it was in season 1, so I apologize. Thank you, Chad. And thank you, chat, for such an awesome time. A reminder that we're about to enter the barbecue-themed raffle. We're actually going to do the raffle during barbecue, which is coming up in just a little while here. We actually have gotten the hashtags to be used. Chad has entered his name into the ring, and I believe Blazed R2 is Toronto Freddy, because he used a Nightmare on Elm Street hashtag. Or if Toronto Freddy already won a prize, though, do we enter him in this raffle as well?
I don't know.
I'm inclined to try and give it to somebody else, because he's already getting a pretty cool prize. But on the flip side, both Sean and Jade have entered the hashtag. So there's a good chance that we may be sending this barbecue prize up to Canada too, damn it.
Damn Canadians.
The hashtag BBQ Watch on social media so that we can kind of even the playing field out a little bit. I'll put everybody's names in there once we get
the Canadians are coming here. They're taking our prizes. We have to build a wall
between now and barbecue watch, I will just go ahead and include your name. It doesn't have to be just 5. I'll put Freddie in there. I'll put Sean and Jade in there. I'll put Chad in there. I'll put everybody in there. As long as you use the hashtag between now and barbecue watch, I will include you in the raffle. So just go do it right now. Hashtag BBQ watch. I'm following the hashtag on my phone right now. Go do it.
Do it.
I liked the firefight that happened at the end of Cut and Run as well, Ben. It showed just how far the Bad Batch was willing to go, like how far they had come in such a short amount of time, that they're now fighting off their former brothers just to be able to escape and stay alive. It's really crazy how much changes in such a short amount of time on this show.
Yeah, the how, like, I don't know what I was expecting, but I was expecting like a good, fun show that, like, you know, opened really big. You had the 70-minute thing. Obviously, lots going to happen. Tarkin's going to be there. Saw Gerrera's going to be in it. Like, it's going to be epic. But, like, the rest of the episodes, maybe something happens, maybe not. Maybe it's just kind of fun adventures with the Bad Batch. Like, it has been anything but that. Like, it has been, like, really heavy, like, storytelling beats and stuff happening very, very fast. And by the third episode, you're like, wow, the plot has moved by much quicker than I ever expected. And we're getting stuff that I never thought. And it's really surprising. Like, you know, I was expecting us all to already be on the, oh, it's filler. Look at the filler episode. And it's not that at all. Like, every episode has been really, really strong. I think especially today's episode was very, very strong.
Oh,
and so, like, all this to say, like, I think this show is really shaping up. Yes, I am sure we'll hit a snag. There'll be an episode out of the whatever 14 or 16 that we're getting that won't be, you know, to the top in quality, but, like, so far the editing, the dialogue, the animation has been, it's just been amazing.
Yeah. I've enjoyed everything that I've seen from it, and I actually got to, like, really, really look forward to something coming home from work today, you know. Sometimes my girlfriend comes over after the end of a work day, and I get to look forward to that. But for the most part, when I'm going home on a Friday, I'm just looking forward to the next episode of The Bad Batch or the next episode of WandaVision or something like that. Like, Fridays have been synonymous with new television for me for the last couple of months now, and I've really enjoyed it, and that's continuing with The Bad Batch. Really quickly, before we get to Barbecue Watch, last segment of the evening, let's talk about this episode that debuted today, The Replacements. They basically end up stranded on a moon, and you're doing, like, this back and forth looking at what's happening with Crosshair and then what's happening with Hunter and the gang, and kind of like a comparison contrast on the way they do things now that the war is over. You know, what is Crosshair shaping up to become? What is Hunter shaping up to become as we deal with the aftermath of the Clone Wars? And it's been fascinating.
Yeah, I love what they're doing with Crosshair, because they're setting him up to be such a tragic character and someone who it could have easily been just like, oh, he just believes in the Empire. He's just going along with the crowd, and, you know, he is in on it. No, he was forced into this. Not only was his chip, you know, malfunctioning and but partially working, but they've also reinforced that. And, you know, and Omega senses this. Omega's like, I know what you're about to do, you know, and she feels sympathy for him. I love in this episode, they're like, you know, Wrecker was like, I miss him. And I'm like, yeah, I love that, because, like, despite the fact that, like, they, like, Crosshair was like this shady guy and he was kind of a jerk sometimes, he still was their friend. He still was someone they cared about. And despite everything, they're still, like, having compassion for him. And Hunter's, you know, isn't mad at him. He says he's mad at himself because he let him go, and he feels like they're a team and they need to be together. I love that. So I think we're heading into some really heartwarming territory, and hopefully something not heartbreaking, to a resolution to Crosshair's predicament.
Ooh, see, here's the tough part is, you know, Omega basically kind of did some foreshadowing, saying, like, we're way to get back to him. Like, that's going to be part of this season's storyline, is they're going to try and figure out a way to sneak back to Camino, or you know, go somewhere where they know Crosshair is ending up. And with Tech's research of the chip, you know, he was kind of doing some research research this episode on board the shuttle, with Hunter's desire to go back, like all of kind of coming to a point where they may end up trying to kidnap him and perform surgery on his inhibitor chip to see if it changes his personality. And, Omega's promise, Hunter's resolve, Tech's research, they're doing all of these things to set up the eventuality that they're going a way to reunite and try to help their comrade.
Yeah, and I like the whole idea because, like, we've seen in the trailer that they're going to meet Rex, and Rex undoubtedly is going to tell them all about his experience and the fact that Ahsoka rescued him, and then he's probably going to mention how basically Five saved his life, and that was a big thing for Echo, and there's going to be a lot of feels there, and there's feels coming, guys.
Oh yeah. Like Rex's experience of having the chip removed, and like the experience of what's that going to look like compared to Crosshair's like experience losing the chip. Like there's a lot that's still on the horizon, and it's only been 3 episodes, and yet they've been really, really fun episodes. Oh, yeah. Out of these 3, I really enjoyed Aftermath for the simulation that with live fire. I enjoyed the deep cut that they made with Cut LaQuaine and Cut and Run. And in this one, the final scene, the climaxes of each scene, we have to talk about Crosshair leading the mission with the Dark Troopers before we close tonight.
Oh my God. Did you see that scene coming?
I did not. I really did not. For one, I was not expecting enlisted troops to have the better mentality. Like, I thought that Crosshair would have some compassion, but to get so dogmatic as to say good soldiers follow orders and then follow through with what he followed through with, I was speechless at the end of that sequence. And then even more speechless at how great the storytelling was by looking at how Omega refused to fire the blaster while Crosshair didn't hesitate.
Yeah, that, like, the whole idea of, like, it basically proves, like, Tarkin wrong. Because, like, Tarkin's like, oh, yeah, these guys will our loyalty will, like, totally serve us well, and it'll be better than clones. Like, Crosshair is, like, the ultimate, like, we got an order. We got a thing. Like, this is, like, they had consciences, and he shot one of them. Like, it's just crazy.
What's funny is nobody mentioned what happened to that trooper. Nobody really made any kind of mention one way or another, and they were just like, yeah, he died on the mission, but nobody talks about.
I think they're like, yeah, Crosshair will, like, shoot us in the back if we say anything to Tarkin.
Chad says that final scene in the barracks with Crosshair hit me in the feels. He's back in his old barracks, but he's with a new team and he's got a new situation. Like, you tell that he's probably a little conflicted, but his resolve to follow orders is kind of superseding anything else that he's feeling right now. And hopefully that changes whenever he has the chip removed.
And he's got a Bucky Barnes Winter Soldier journey to go on now, because after he gets the chip out, he's going to start realizing all the horrible things that he did. And that's not going to sit well with him. And that's going to be, again, more feels.
It really is. And I am kind of ready for it, but at the same time, I don't know if I
not.
I wasn't ready for this episode, and like the scenes that happened in the end of this one, and I don't know how ready I'll be for the next one. But overall, I would say my rating of these first 3 episodes of The Bad Batch is like, it would probably be like an 8 out of 10 for Aftermath, and then like a 8.5, and then a 9 for Replacements. Like, it just keeps getting better so far for me.
Yeah, I would actually give Aftermath a 9. I'll give Cut and Run 8.5. It's up there. I'll give this new one a 9. Like, it's been like I'm having trouble like finding things to complain about. Like the only thing that like really like bugs me is like, oh yeah, the canon thing with like Caleb Doom. Like even that's like, I don't care. It's Caleb Doom. It's that's cool. Like, you know, it's like you have to nitpick to actually like find things that are not good because this show is just firing on all cylinders.
And whenever the show is finally finished and we've got the entire season to look at and evaluate, we'll probably do another review of it here on the show.
Nice.
Because, like when you have a all perspective of the season, you get a more encompassing view. And I think overall it's had a pretty solid start, and I'm just hoping that it keeps getting better.
Yeah, absolutely. I have very, very high hopes and expectations for the rest of the show because like these 3 episodes like just like blew me away. So like I'm like, what is going to happen next?
Very true. Okay, I think it's time for the IPC Trivia Question. This is one other raffle that's very easy for people to win, but it's only winnable for people that are participating in the live chat. So this should be interesting. It's one question, and it's just person to answer it wins the prize. And what we're going to do is we're going to send them some swag over from our TeePublic site, tpublic.com/user/IPC podcast. For anybody that wants to go and get some of their own, they can. But we're going to send them some IPC swag, maybe a long sleeve shirt or like a travel mug or something like that, something with our logo on it. As you all know, we've been talking about it off and on for the whole show. We're celebrating 7 years today. This is our 7th anniversary episode. But on what day did the very first episode of IPC debut? What day was our inaugural episode? We need the month, we need the day, and we need the year. You can do it Canadian style, you can do it American style. I don't care. But you have to say something like January 1st, 2000. Obviously, that wasn't when our first episode was. But what date was our very first episode of IPC?
If you hadn't looked this up, I'm not sure I would know this either.
I only know because it keeps showing up in my Facebook memories.
Yeah, me
keeps
too.
Talking about like the throwback Thursday, your time hop type of thing. It keeps going back and reminding me. But yeah, what day did the first ever episode of IPC debut? So people in the chat need the day, the month, the year, and it looks like Steven Shinder got it right.
I was going to say there's only 365 to 1 chances that you got it, and I think you got it.
And Steven Shinder with the date of May 10th, 2014. Phantom Empire Sean typed in 1967. Oh, wait. Nope. That's not time the Leafs won the cup. Oh, crap. May 14th, 2014 is a good guess, Flinner. We're just celebrating it a little bit out of order. But it was actually May the 10th of 2014. That was our very first episode, and we have done at least 320 plus since then. So, as long as you haven't moved, I think I've still got your mailing information from the last time we sent you a prize. I sent him his own copy of Zombies last year. And I think he still hates me a little bit for that. But Steven Shinder won the IPC swag raffle of May 10th, 2014. That was when our very first episode happened. And now we're having our very first episode on Fandom Empire. And it's been a heck of a lot of fun. This has been an amazing night, dude. An amazing night, an amazing chat, amazing people, amazing fun. Like, it is so great. I am super stoked about the stuff that has transpired.
I am in awe.
But great night.
I'm in absolute awe of this and the amazing technical just wizardry that Sean whipped up to make this look so amazing and make us look good and that's hard to do. I will say. And then also just all of you guys in the chat that came out to listen and also watch, because you can do that now. And yeah, can you see me? Can you see me? But man, this was amazing. I want to do this all night, and but I can't because
it's already 11:30 on the East Coast. Sean's ready to go to bed. He's had a hell of a day.
Yeah, I feel bad.
Our final segment of the night. Let's go on to our final segment of the night, and then we'll do our plugs, talking about both platforms, IPC and Fandom Empire. We're not going to play the music. We're just going to go into it because we've got stuff to talk about it. It's time for #barbecue watch. And Ben, lead off with your barbecue story from your vacation, and then we have enough players that I'm going to do a raffle for our barbecue themed stuff that we're doing, and we still need 3 more patrons. If you're interested in the big prize, if it doesn't happen tonight, we'll do it next week until we have enough patrons for this. But we need 3 more patrons in order to do the big giveaway. Patreon.com/IPC Podcast. Go and become a patron at any level. I'm going to drop it down from the $7 level that I said earlier. Any level is fine. Just become a partner with us on this adventure. If you've enjoyed the show tonight, please consider financially contributing to what we do. It helps pay for some of the stuff that we're doing. We're going to get webcams so that I don't look so choppy next episode. We're going to do stuff to try and make the show even better. And we do that with you guys' help. So patreon.com/IPC Podcast. If we get 3 more patrons by the end of the show, we're going to do the big giveaway tonight. If not, we'll do it in 2 weeks. But Ben, after you tell the story, we'll do the raffle for the barbecue winner.
Yeah. So as I said, I was on a little vacation recently. Finally got out to actually do like an official vacation, because I haven't been doing a lot of that lately. With the way the world has been, it was nice to go out and see some stuff. And our first stop was, I don't know if people know this, but I don't know, how much do you know about the Amish? How have you ever seen Amish in person or anything like that?
I think so, but just for those who haven't, let's give some context, shall we?
Right. So the Amish are the biggest concentration of them is Pennsylvania. It's called Pennsylvania Dutch country.
Yes.
And for those who don't know, they're people that don't use electricity and dress in 19th century clothing. They're straight up, they go way back, and they're kind of a very superstitious people, and they're really fascinating. They ride around in horses, buggies, they don't use cars, and they live in communities with normal people, and it's just this kind of thing. And so we ended up going to, I think it was northern Indiana, where there is a high concentration of one of the biggest populations of Amish in the world is in Indiana. And so one place we went, and you will go in normal shops and whatever, and there's Amish people there. They're part of the community. There's nothing different. And there's very large off ramps and shoulders for the road just for their buggies. The whole system and infrastructure is designed around them. It's crazy. There's hitching posts outside every single shop and restaurant and business to accommodate them. It's pretty crazy. But where I went was a place that I can't remember the name, but it was it was a restaurant that was recommended to us, and it was kind of this home-owned place that had a bunch of stuff on the menu, not necessarily barbecue, but just a smorgasbord of things. We got in there, and there's Amish people running the place. I don't know if it was owned by Amish, but it was run by Amish people. And I got the barbecue chicken, which was kind of a chicken breast thing, smothered in barbecue sauce. It was pretty good. But first, I guess, does it qualify as Amish barbecue? I feel like it does. I want to say I ate Amish barbecue food, so yeah, that's what I want to say.
Amish barbecue. Okay, well, the real question is, how was it?
It was pretty good. I'm not going to say it's the best barbecue chicken I've ever had. but it was pretty good.
Okay. Like on a scale of like maybe mainstream barbecue, or even compared to your barbecue, like what kind of comparison would you give? Like, what's it closest resemble?
It's kind of, I would say it's towards the middle. Like it's kind of hard to compare because it's like it's not like smoked. It's more like kind of grilled chicken and with barbecue sauce on it. So
Okay.
it's not in the same realm. So it's hard to kind of describe it. But it is technically barbecue. So I had to mention it. But then from there, we went on to Chicago and Michigan and a bunch of other places. Then we came back to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Oh.
And we discovered this place called Calhoun's, which is, if you're familiar with Gatlinburg, it's on the south end of the street.
Mhm.
And it is a straight up like barbecue sit down restaurant. Been by this place 100 times. Didn't really know, like I had heard of it, but it was recommended to us. Went there. It was darn good. I actually, again, had something kind of unconventional, but still barbecue. I had a barbecue bacon cheeseburger thingy. It had bacon, smothered in barbecue sauce. Oh man, this thing was good. This thing was really good. And also other members of my party got we got some ribs, we got some pulled pork, and it was all around. I highly recommend it. If you're ever in Gatlinburg, check out Calhoun's. Really good place, and they were very nice, great service, great food.
Awesome, man. I need to travel and experience barbecue outside my state. Obviously, I've been to some of the hubs, like the Dallas area, the Austin area, San Antonio. Like, I know where some of the better barbecue in Texas is, but trying to find stuff like in Kansas City and Tennessee, even Mississippi. Like, I've had Mississippi-style barbecue, obviously, but to experience it in different places is definitely something that I want to do, like a barbecue tour or something, if you will.
Yeah,
So
yeah. And on your barbecue tour, you've got to go to Seattle because they have the best barbecue, right?
Exactly. It's like in the top 3 rated barbecue in the country, but I don't freaking get it. I don't.
Look, New Orleans is number 1. All right. I live very close to New Orleans. I've been there close to 1 million times. I couldn't take you to one barbecue place in New Orleans. I've never eaten barbecue in New Orleans. Why would I eat barbecue when there's freaking seafood and Cajun food and everything you possibly want? Why would you want to eat barbecue in New Orleans?
Don't get it. I don't.
Who made that list? They need to be burned at the stake. They need to be barbecued themselves.
They need to be barbecued. Wow. That got dark really fast.
Yeah. All right. I'm very upset. All right. This has pissed me off.
Yeah, well, that's why I listed it, was to make fun of it, because I have relatives in Seattle, and Seattle food is so different. Their Dairy Queens don't even have tacos.
What?
Yeah, like every Dairy Queen I've ever been to down here in the Deep South has like a 3 taco plate. But out there in Seattle, the Dairy Queen doesn't have tacos. So I don't trust a place where their Dairy Queen doesn't have tacos. I just don't.
Yep. Oh, also, really quick, I should mention before we move on, Sticky Fingers, which is not too far away in Chattanooga, Tennessee, is a really favorite place of my family's. We also stopped in there the other day and had a good meal. And I've talked about Sticky Fingers actually several times on the show. This is a small little chain around that area. And yeah, if you're ever in the area, check them out. They're good.
Melissa says, your state is scary, Zach. Too many snakes and spiders in Texas.
Texas is the Australia of the United States.
You're not entirely wrong. Like, there are some people that make that comparison from Australia. They're like, they say that Texas is just Australia East or something like that. And I'm like, you're not wrong. We got dozens of different kinds of venomous snakes.
Just need to put that meme in there, Sam Wilson. He's out of line, but he's right.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I mean, at the same time, it depends on the part of Texas you're in. I'm in a very metropolitan area where we get very few snakes and stuff unless you're out by like a river or something. But it's still pretty crazy out here. We've got scorpions and snakes and
Oh God.
like we've got really big predatory animals too. Like the native animals exhibits at our zoos are filled with things like eagles and falcons and jaguars and coyotes and things like that. Whereas the native animals of other places is like it's like turkeys and roadrunners and beehives and crap like that. And I'm like, man, times like this, I really do enjoy being in Texas.
Yeah, the biggest thing we have to worry about where I live is alligators. There's like 1 billion of them here. I think they outnumber people. But you just stay out of the water and they don't bother you. So like it's not a big deal. Like a cougar could just attack you in your driveway. Like it's bad.
That's kind of crazy. You've got middle-aged women hunting you down when you walk out to go to your car?
It's getting late, guys. It's getting very late.
Oh yeah, we're at that point where it's time to maybe wrap things up, which means it's time for the raffle winners. We made a last call and we got a couple more last-minute submissions. I went ahead and put Freddie in there, but I swear if he ends up winning 2 raffles in a night, he's not getting entered for anything in the future. But we've got we've got one last raffle to do, and the winner of this raffle is actually going to get a barbecue sauce sampler pack from a brand that both of us really trust. That we find its authenticity to be very, very certain, and it's a brand called Stubbs. I don't know if many people have heard of it, but it's a brand that we know, that we trust, and it's being shipped here, so there's no take-backsies on this one. It's a 4-flavor sampler pack of Stubbs legendary barbecue sauce. And the people who have talked about IPC tonight or have used the hashtag are Toronto Freddy, Sean, Cat73, Chad, Jade, and Chris Sequel. So those are the people that are going to be entered in this giveaway. And I've got their names on the roulette wheel, and it is officially spin right now. Hear the click, 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 click.
Yep.
And the winner of the sampler pack is Mama Jade.
Oh, yes.
Mama Jade wins the sample pack of barbecue sauce from IPC. I was hoping for the celebration music to come back out again, but I guess
late to the trigger.
It's all right. It's late. It's even later out there on the East Coast, so we probably need to close this thing down. We didn't get our quota for patrons on Patreon tonight, but that's okay. We got people engaged on social media. We got people engaged in the live chat, and hopefully we've convinced people to come back for more fun in a couple of weeks when we do another episode of IPC. We'll continue this Patreon giveaway because it's a pretty big, pretty cool prize that's already been bought. So we need people to keep coming back, and we need people to keep subscribing. Right now we've got 2 patrons. We're looking to get to 5, hopefully more than that. But we're hoping to do this giveaway maybe on the next episode of the Intergalactic Peace Coalition. But thanks to everybody who participated in the other 3 raffles. Steven Schinder, the winner of the IPC swag. Toronto Freddy, the winner of the Super Chat prize. And Mama Jade, the winner of the barbecue prize. So, Ben, overall, I think this has been a really freaking awesome night, and I'm sorry to see it close down, but all good things have to come to an end eventually so that we can have fun again 2 weeks from now.
I'm telling you, man, I wish we didn't have to wait 2 more weeks to do this again, because I am thrilled. Seriously, like I'm not like, I know this is podcasting. You guys see us hype things up and do stuff that like, and maybe it seems fake sometimes, but this is real, guys. Seriously, I am just thrilled that this is happening and could not be happier with how this turned out. Thanks to Sean for helping us make this happen. Thank you, Zach, for being here with me for 324 episodes.
Oh my!
And here's to 324 more, and here's to 7 more years, and hopefully keep doing this. And we finally got an upgrade. It's amazing, and we've got an amazing audience tonight. I hope each and every one of you can find a way to come back in a couple weeks, and we'll be doing the same thing over again. I don't know what we'll be talking about. I'm sure it'll be awesome. We've got a lot of stuff on the table. We've got a lot of stuff coming out recently, movies, TV shows, whatever, that we have not talked about. One of Justice League, Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm sure those things we will be getting to very as soon as possible. So yeah, definitely tune in for that, and whatever else. We also do like to do throwbacks. Back to the Future, I think, is probably going to be one of the next ones we go to, and I'm thrilled about that. And who knows what else? You guys, if you ever have something that you want us to talk about, hey, just tweet at us, whatever. Say, hey, you should talk about this, and maybe we'll hey, let's do that. So we're very we're pushovers. We'll take suggestions.
Hey, you guys know our socials now because you've been hitting us up on social media. So go find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at IPC Podcast. Go find previous episodes on IPC Podcast, podbean.com. That's where our full slate of episodes prior to this one are located. Those are all the audio only, but it's okay because it's pretty awesome content. And yeah, thank you to everyone that celebrate 7 years tonight. It's been awesome. We've got swag at tpublic.com/user/IPC podcast. We've got previous episodes on different podcatchers like Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Previous episodes can also be found on StarWarsUnderworld.com. And for all the new episodes, you can find them right here on Fandom Empire. There is shows like the Rick and Morty show that's on a regular basis. Fandom Empire Live is on twice a week. There's pop-up shows. There's patron shows. There's all kinds of awesome stuff happening on this channel, not just IPC, but we are very excited to be a part of the mix. Ben, where can the folks at home keep up with you personally outside of this show?
Well, they can find me on the social medias at Ben Hart with no E, exactly as it sounds, on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that kind of stuff. And I have been posting some pictures and stuff like that from my travels. And there's some pretty awesome stuff. And also I went to a Marvel exhibit and I posted a bunch of that. I've still got actually several more things to post. So yeah, follow me over there. And of course, the Star Wars Underworld at the SWU. Each week, Thursday nights, 9 p.m., channel 1138. We talk about the latest Star Wars news and a whole lot more. We've also got Podforce 99 right now happening, and we'll be recording that actually tomorrow for the newest episode. And that'll be out later, actually on Monday. So that'll be awesome. And then at Culture Slate, we're doing a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff's happening, and I'm involved in a lot of it, and it's breaking my brain sometimes, but it's amazing, and I'm so excited for that. So definitely go check out at Culture Slate at the SWU, at Ben Hart with no E, and yeah, guys, this was amazing.
You're doing barbecue and like family business stuff on top of all of this stuff?
Apparently.
Goodness, man.
Apparently.
When do you sleep, my friend?
The question, the answer is I don't.
3 to
you
6
see these
days.
eyes. You see these eyes. You think they sleep?
Probably not. And yet we get to see those eyes every 2 weeks. For me personally, you can find Zack the Voice wherever social media can be found. I'm literally got that brand across the board. So Facebook.com/Zack the Voice. Zack the Voice on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Venmo, Twitch, like Discord, just about everything. You can find Zack the Voice at all of those different places. And you can find me back right here on Fandom Empire. We're also doing a program on Thursday nights. It's Fandom Empire Live, immediately followed by Fandom News Now, which is a news program that I host. So we're not trying to compete with Ben and the SWU. We're just trying to offer a little variety of other programming. So if you're looking for some quick hits news stuff, then you can check us out there on Thursday nights. But man, all good things must come to an end, but that means that all good things will be starting up again in just 2 weeks. Dude, happy 7 years. Thank you for putting up with my crap for 7 years, and I am definitely excited about what kind of crap we're going to be throwing at this channel in weeks, months, and years to come.
I cannot wait. Thank you, Zach. Thank you, Sean. Thank you to all of you guys watching and listening and showing up and supporting us and donating your time and your money, because we got patrons tonight. We got super chats. Yeah, this was beyond words amazing. Cannot wait to do it again in 2 weeks.
We'll be right back here on a Friday night 2 weeks from tonight with all new content and all new fun. But for now, for our producers Sean and for Ben, I'm Zach Arnold. We'll see you back here on Fandom Empire in a couple of weeks. But until then, good night, everyone.
This podcast is sponsored in part by Benjamin Hart.
That's me.
And yours truly, Zach Arnold.
And by participation from listeners like you. So let's tune in to another episode of
IPC.
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 IPC. IPC. IPC.
IPC.
IPC.
IPC. The Intergalactic Peace Coalition Podcast.
All the galaxies.
All for you.